have to get used to that because you don't want to be with somebody that you don't like to kiss. So you have to like try it out. I'm gonna probably kiss a fair amount of guys on camera. I'm sorry, guys.
A fair amount?
Yeah, we were not expecting that answer.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, I think about Gary being the first Golden Bachelor. I think he had a harder job than me. But I also think back to Trista when she was like the first Bachelorette, and about like the hard job the two of them had. So I'm not like the original, I'm not the OG, you know, for like Trista kind of did that already for the women. Gary did it for the Golden. So I get to look at the way they did it. And so it makes it a little easier for me, but it is a little scary being a first, I have to say. There's a lot of pressure, and like being an OG is like kind of epic, I feel like, in my book. I'm a little nervous. I hope I did it right. I did. So he and I are good friends, and so we do talk. And maybe a month before we started taping, he and I had a really long conversation. I mean, it may have been 2 hours. And we talked about lots of stuff. And, you know, how do you remember everybody's name? And, you know, like I asked him for advice. He said, to be open and don't make a decision early on, and make sure you give everybody a chance, and don't leave anything on the table. Make sure that you ask them the important questions. There's, you know, not a lot of room for small talk. And I also talked to Trista, and I talked to Jen. Jen had just finished taping, and I called her, and we connected on Instagram. We DM'd each other, and she's like, call me if you want to talk. And I was like, yeah, I want to talk. I need to talk to somebody. So I had conversations with a lot of people, a lot of bachelors and bachelorettes that had already gone through this process to find out like what they did, like give me advice, tell me the things to do and not to do. So I was the first, but I had a lot of coaching. You know, like I said, there's not a lot of room for small talk. So like, you know, what's important to you? You know, what do you do on a Saturday? Do you see your family, or do you go golf with your friends? Or, not that I'm judging that. I mean, certainly you should have time with your friends. You know, you kind of need to find out what their moral compass is and what they value. And like, those are kind of big questions to ask somebody you hardly know, but that's what you have to do. Yeah, that's a really good question, because, you know, it's a little nebulous right now. You know, I was just kind of starting my golden years when John passed away. We were in the process of making plans. We were going to go, you know, on these great vacations, and we were going to buy another home and, you know, be able to spend more time there. You know, my youngest son was just graduating from college, so we were just getting all the kids lunch. We were about to start those golden years, and he passed away. So I haven't like experienced the golden years really yet. With somebody, but in my mind, it's doing all those things. It's, you know, be able to be spontaneous and to take a trip, but also having the person that you're comfortable with, like just sitting at home and watching like a Netflix series, or, you know, cooking out and having a glass of wine and just sitting on your back deck. You know, it doesn't need to be, you know, I'm out of the years of raising kids. I don't have like all those obligations. So it's really like having a best friend, because you finally have time to be alone with somebody. It's almost like the beginning of your marriage when you're really young, before you have kids. Like, I'm now at the other end of that. Kids are raised, and, you know, it's like dating again. It's, you know, it's finding love. It's almost like, you know, when you were in your 20s, but I'm doing it in my 60s now. So my red flag list is generally something that's hard to discover, like in a mansion setting. So like my red flag list is a lot of, if you treat waiters and waitresses nice, or, you know, just the people at this, you know, the acquaintances, and how you treat those people. So that's like a red flag for me. So I didn't really experience that in the house. So it was more how they treated each other. That I noticed, because they were innately going to be the best they could be around me. But it's when like no one's looking, how they're treating each other, or so, and that was really indicative. So they, as you know, you'll be sitting with somebody having your one-on-one time, and they'll come up and okay, I'm sorry, can I, steal you for a minute? And it was the way they would apologize and the way that they would treat each other after that. And they were so nice to each other. They would, like, someone would come up and say, I'm so sorry, can I steal her? Like, it's kind of my turn. And they would say, oh my God, of course, have a good time, and hug each other. They were so nice to each other. So no red flags ever. They were all so kind and so good. And talked about each other in such kind ways. They would talk about each other when I was having individual time with them. I was very excited when so I didn't know until he showed up. And that was a really fun entrance, and I was excited when he got out of the car. I had hoped that he would be getting out of the car. I loved seeing the way he was with his kids, and that's like a really big important thing for me, how you are with your family, and that he had lost his wife to cancer, and how close he was with his kids, and that's kind of really similar to my life. So aside from him being really cute and good looking, I felt like we had a lot of the same values. When we started taping, it had been almost 3.5 years since he passed away, which really isn't a long time. And over those years, I almost tried to push it kind of in the back. You grieve really, really hard in the beginning. You can't help it. You can't push the things back. And then you get better at that over the years. And I had gotten pretty good at it at 3 years that I don't have a lot of pictures of him around the house because it makes me sad still. But I was kind of confronted with these feelings a lot during this process because I did start forming feelings for other men, and I had not done that up until that point. And I was kind of like, I felt like I was, like I really had to confront things that I wasn't used to confronting, about like guilt of dating another man. Like I almost felt like I was being unfaithful, weirdly. And, I had finally kind of gotten used to being alone, and I was worried then all of a sudden I didn't want to rock the boat and like invite somebody else into my life. Maybe that, I finally got to this comfortable place without John, and that introducing somebody in my life was going to now make me uncomfortable again. So yeah, I had a lot of thoughts about John, and I actually came out of this journey being really able to talk about John a lot. Like I talk about him all the time, which is maybe weird, but like I was encouraged to really confront things and work through them in a really like short amount of time. And it was really like very healing for me. So I kind of always said that if I found the right person, that I would be open to getting married again. I'm not sure at this age you need to get married again. I think that there's a lot of times aligned with having kids and creating a household. We're in a little bit of a different place, but I don't see there's any reason not to get married. I don't mean to sound like that is, I don't know. To be honest, until you figure out what your love looks like, it's hard to think about that, honestly. I had a love, I was married for 32 years. I never thought in my mind that I would be thinking about marrying somebody else. I never thought I would be without John. So, that's a kind of a big deal to me. The fact that Gary and Teresa didn't work out, I did see them fall in love on the show. They were in love, and eventually they figured out that it wasn't right for them. Unfortunately, they got married first, but when they figured out it wasn't right for them, they were ready to let it go. And I think both of them still want to find love, and the best thing for them to do at that point was to call it quits and, live their lives. I feel like maybe it disappointed a lot of people. I was disappointed. I loved seeing them married. I love that happy ending, but I'm still good friends with both of them, and I think they did the right thing. Well, it was so fun. We had incredible dates. So, but at first I would like to touch on the mansion a little bit, because I think that is maybe like a little bit of a mystery in everybody's mind. Like, are we just going to have a bunch of older men that want to talk about golf and sports, and, we're not really going to get to know them? And that is completely not true. They were so incredibly open and vulnerable, and they loved each other. They fell in love night one. And I think that they are all still talking right now. And they have some really interesting stories about their lives. So I think you guys are going to be treated to, and even me, because I don't see what happens in the mansion. This is only what I hear from the guys. So I think that we're going to have be in for a real treat when this airs, because we're going to really get to know these guys and their backstories. And then as far as dates, we had some great ones. So for the first time ever in Bachelor history, we got to go to Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. And that was an amazing date. It just was iconic, just how you think of Disney. And I also got to go to Las Vegas on a private jet. And that was so much fun. I mean, every date had this epic element to it. So they don't do anything halfway at Bachelor. Everything is huge and done in a major way. So those were two of my fun dates. We did also have a really cool date that benefited a cancer organization, Bear It All for Cancer, and it was a Chippendales stripping date. So you're going to see some older gentlemen bearing it all for cancer. And I don't want to give anything away. They bared it all. They really put their heart into it. A lot of the men on this show had lost loved ones to cancer. So everybody really embraced the opportunity to do something good instead of just being salacious. We all viewed this as, we were benefiting something amazing. So everybody really put their heart into it. Wow, that's such a huge question, because it was such an epic journey. I'll remember the first day when the guys came in the limo and how overwhelming it was, and then how each week it became less overwhelming and more intimate. And you can see, you are confronted with making big decisions every week about who to give roses, and you second guess yourself, and then all of a sudden you're at the end of the season and you're exactly where you need to be, and you feel like you did everything right. And that's how I feel.